This is Mid-10 Listens podcast. This is Joshua Smotherman, MiddleTennesseeMusic.com. I'm here today with Nick from The Fresh Topping. Nick is a parody artist, songwriter, and we're going to talk to him today about his music and just what it's all about and kind of his background, and just hopefully have a good laugh or two. How's it going, Nick?
Good. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. What's the weather like out there in California?
It's always nice. Even when it's a bad day, it's nice.
It's cold and wet in Tennessee. Today was the first sunny day we've had in a week or two, so that was nice, but it was still chilly. So,
I don't like
what led you to become a parody songwriter? Were you have you always been a fan of the parody genre, or did you just need something to blow off steam and have a good time?
No, I've always been a fan of it. I grew up listening to a lot of different things. My dad always listened to Dr. Demento, which was very tame, really. I always liked Two Live Crew and a few Weird Al songs, but satire and parody, it's just always amusing. There wasn't anything in particular that led me to it. I wrote my first one when I was like 14, about 20 years ago, to a Nirvana song, which then Weird Al ended up doing a few months later. And even then it was explicit, but I just started writing them and just figured one day I'd make a CD just for shits and giggles, and finally put it together and put it out there, and hopefully make some people laugh.
Is there any reason you lean toward the explicit, sexually infused lyrics, or is it? Are you a fan of porn, or?
A fan? I don't know about that. I think everybody has seen porn. I'm not like, I've never been to a convention. I've honestly never even been to a strip club. I never want to go to a strip club. It just, that's just always been my personality,
Is that the Two Live Crew influence?
Is that what?
Is that the Two Live Crew influence?
It could be. It could be that. There's other influence as well. The first two CDs I bought when I was like 10, one was Cinderella and the other one was NWA.
Nice.
I've listened to a whole range of music, but I guess I always just like to, be myself and be different than what everybody else expected, and it's just funny stuff. A song about fisting. Who the hell writes a song about fisting? It's completely ridiculous. I would never want to fist anybody in my life, but it's a fucking hilarious subject, and it makes a fucking funny ass song.
You have some hilarious songs. When I first got your EPK and I listened, the first song that I played was "Load in Me," and I don't think I'd laughed that hard in a long time. And I actually sent John an email back, and I was like, "Man, this is freaking hilarious! Thank you." And then he's the one that was like, "You want an interview?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So
it's a funny song. It's funny. I always try to make them funny. I know a lot of people doing parodies all over YouTube and whatnot, and I'm not, I don't necessarily know anybody's name on there. And, I'm not going to mention anybody, but they're not always funny. It seems like sometimes they just try too hard.
Right.
Just put them together, and if it doesn't come out, then it doesn't come out. So it's got to be funny. It's got to be coherent, and I think intelligently put together, which is what I try to put together there. So at least somebody's laughing.
Do you have a process for choosing the songs you parody?
Not really. I personally am a fan of a older stuff, 70s, 80s, not a lot of 90s. I don't really like a lot of the new music today, but, some people know, the new music more so than they know, Journey or
Right.
Motley Crue. So, if you want to get somebody to listen to an older song, you gotta sometimes make a newer song.
Well, I'm an 80s baby. So when I heard the Journey parody, "Don't Stop the Seaman," it was right. I was there with my hands in the air, like I was at a Journey concert. So
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, just because it's such a catchy song to begin with. And that one actually, I only sing some of the stuff. I did the Porno Man one, because I'm not a singer. I write and I produce, but I have some friends who sing for me. And the guy who originally was going to sing that is actually in a Journey cover band, and he was so used to singing "Don't Stop Believing" that he was just getting the lyrics, messed up. It just didn't sound right, so I ended up having one of my female singers sing it, and it ended up sounding really good, like a kind of like a Glee.
it sounds great.
Like Glee thing. So I went with that one. But it's just I add stuff to my playlist. I'll hear something and I'll be like, get a line and see where it goes from there. I mean, I still use Winamp just because I like the ease of use for the playlist instead of iTunes, and I probably have 150 songs on it that I just shuffle through. Ranging from Gloria Estefan to Hall & Oates to Iron Maiden and Poison, and just whatever hits me when it hits me is how I write them, and sometimes they finish. I got probably 40 or 50 other songs written, and probably double that amount sitting there unfinished and just waiting to be finished one day, hopefully.
Gotcha. Now, part of what we do at MiddleTennesseeMusic.com is try to give insight to artists, especially up-and-coming artists and independent artists, about using the internet and also like the music business. Could you give us some insight on the licensing issues and copyright issues that go along with doing parody songs? Do you have are there any, or since you hire musicians to replay the parts, is it fair rights use?
It is. You're obviously familiar with the fair rights there. When you take samples and tracks out of a song from the original version, from a CD, you have that, and you reuse them, you run into some copyright issues there. I hire my studio engineer. Mixes everything, and then he finds me local musicians to replay everything from scratch. So there's not a single sample or track that is actually from CD,
right,
or a tape or anything like that. We don't bleed out the vocals like a lot of the stuff on YouTube. Everything is played from scratch, which is really a test to musicians that we get, because some of the songs you can just ignore the lyrics and listen to the music, and it sounds almost like the original version, and some of them better than the original version, in my opinion. As far as the copyright stuff goes, the fair use is there. Somebody can always try to get a copyright, lawsuit going against you, but really what it comes down to is fair use. So, as long as you're not slandering somebody in your song, I don't even mention any of the artists in the song. It's not about it's not about making fun of the artist. It's just about looking at the song in a completely ridiculous way.
Right.
Every one of the artists, I respect him as an artist. I may or may not like the song, but you gotta respect. I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, but I mean, the guy can play like 6 instruments and he can sing. You have to totally respect that.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who like him. So I have nothing bad to say about him. I just, I personally am not a fan of his music, but, will I make a song to one of his that's just a completely, absurd take on anything? Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? And I would probably laugh at it. So,
yeah, exactly. It's funny, we're all sitting there listening to any piece of music, for forever, and we're all sitting there singing our own lyrics to it, and whether it's completely family oriented or completely obscene, everybody does it to film with anything they hear.
No, you're right. I mean, people who mute TV shows and do their own dialogue. It's the same concept. Yep. Yeah. So, and I understand you're a TV and film student, and that consumes a lot of your time. Where do you go to school?
Los Angeles Film School.
Is that pretty intense?
It is. It is. It's not a typical like NYU or USC kind of place. I looked at those places years ago, and you go there. I mean, I started off college a long time ago, mechanical engineering, which is a totally other end of the spectrum of what I do. It was more of a family-oriented thing, for like my family. It just wasn't what I wanted to do, and eventually, I came to this. But I like this school for a lot of reasons. It's more one. It's I'm not spending 4 years there. I'm learning everything you learn everywhere else in 4 years and about a year and a half. But I'm spending a lot more time doing everything.
Right.
On top of which, I don't spend 2 or 3 years just reading books and then get thrown out there to make a thesis project with no idea actually how to do it. I'm actually making stuff right from the get-go. But it's intensive. It takes a lot of time. We'll be shooting more music videos here soon. I'm hoping to get one done by the middle of March, and then just pop out. I don't know, maybe every couple of weeks, every week. Every couple of weeks, every month after that. Probably start off with Sister, just because it's one of my favorites. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
So what have to say about that?
Yeah. Well, I want to go. Actually, I want to talk about the Porno Man for a second. I love that video, and I was wondering how hard was it to get Ron Jeremy in that?
Not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I wrote the song originally just, I had Porno Man, and then I was like, I should really, tribute this to somebody. So I sat down one day, and, I'm not a porn fan, I'm not sitting there watching it, all day, eating hummus and masturbating.
Right.
But, if you ask anybody who's the most famous, male porn star, some might say John Holmes, but he's dead, you can't do anything there. Anyone else is going to say Ron Jeremy,
right?
Either first or just second. So, I know him from Boondock Saints, and so I just attributed to him, and got a hold of his agent, and his agent, gave me a price and everything, and eventually got it going, and have a buddy who works at House of Blues who knows Ron, and actually put me in touch with him outside of his agent, and told all about it, and he totally into it, and got it filmed, and it just went from there.
Now, how long did it take you guys to shoot that video?
It was scheduled for a 2-day shoot, but we ended up doing it in 1 day. It was a very, it wasn't chaotic. It was just a very intense day. Rushing back and forth. Making sure we're getting everything done. I think we started at 9 or 10 in the morning and finished at like 8 or 9 at night to get that whole thing done. When it was originally, slated for 2 days, so that
wow.
There's going to be a whole day dedicated to one of the bigger scenes, and then all the smaller individual room scenes with the fantasy scenes. We're going to be a whole separate day, but we ended up just going through it and getting it all done in 1 day.
Now, how much time was spent editing after all that?
Oh, that was a process just because of the editors involved. It went from one guy to another guy who didn't do anything for a long time, and ended up, just sort of blowing smoke up people's asses, and Then went to another guy who was just very, very slow at getting it done. And somebody's computer then crashed, and they spent weeks getting it back together, having to redo the video. It should have been done, a couple of weeks after, at most a couple of weeks after the video was done, but it took, I think, like 3 or 4 months, just because of the editors that it went through that ended up not being as reliable as they normally were.
Gotcha. Yeah. And welcome to the reality of the music business. or most business, I guess.
Yeah, well, thankfully, I'll be able to edit everything myself. Or at least, know other editors.
That's kind of the other thing I was getting at. Did you hire a company to do this, or was it friends, or?
It was a friend of a friend.
Gotcha.
Basically.
Cool.
So they do other stuff. It's not like they didn't do. They're doing plenty of good work. It's just, I got the bad luck on the draw there with, one guy getting this editor who ended up flaking out, and then the other guy, it was just bad luck,
Yeah.
No hard feelings, I talk to him still. It's not, shit happens,
It happens, yeah, exactly. So, I'm going to start wrapping up here. You're out. You have an album out, right? What's the name of that?
Just titled Fresh Topping, and then we have a 3-song mini album out that came out. When was it? August or September? The first one, I said it's self-titled The Fresh Topping. The second one is called Red Wings Will Never Flap Together,
which is also another hilarious song, by the way.
Very disgusting.
Yeah.
Very disgusting, hilarious song, but it is funny.
Cool. Do you have any last words or any shout-outs that you'd like to say in closing?
Not really. No, I don't have any shout-outs. Last words, I guess you could say a million different things. I guess I'll go back to inspirational kind of thing you asked me earlier, for any other artists. Myself, I have no real, aspirations to be like a rock star or anything like that. I do it for fun. So if anybody else is interested in anything, whether it's parody or just, any type of music or really just any type of art, just no matter what anybody else does, you just go for it and do it, You never know what you're going to get, where you're going to go, what it's going to achieve until you actually get out there and try to do it.
Right. Exactly. I'm with you on that. Well, you can find The Fresh Topping at thefreshtopping.com. You can find them on YouTube at youtube.com/thefreshtopping. You can check out the parody of Billy Joel's The Piano Man called The Porno Man. You can find him on iTunes and Amazon. Nick, it was good talking to you. I really appreciate your time. This is Mid-10 Listens with MiddleTennesseeMusic.com. Until next time, peace. See you, Nick.